So the Aces were able to pull out a strong win over the Golden State Valkyries. And going into this game, the Aces had lost two back to back. Those two losses may have been what they needed to get things back in order. I know a big conversation has been around Jackie Young because she struggled to start the season. Coach alluded to her dealing with some things off of the court, saying that she had a heavy heart. Well, she showed up 23 big ones in this win over the Golden State Valkyries. And she shot more than 50% in this game. And then she had 9 assists, flirted with the triple double. And that's the type of Jackie Young that translates to the Aces winning the game, because when she's able to move the ball and score, the Aces win games. That's just been the truth of it for the past couple of seasons. And this also kind of dampens or quiets the conversation about whether Kennedy Carter should be in the starting lineup or not. Even Kennedy herself seemed to have some questions about why she wasn't in the starting lineup, with the viral incident that happened on Threads where she talked about statistically it doesn't make sense, alluding to her not being in the starting lineup didn't make sense statistically. And to a certain extent, she's absolutely correct. In this season, statistically, she's doing better than Jackie Young. But here's the thing. Coaches are looking deeper than statistics, especially when they know a player. And when we're talking about statistically over the course of time, Jackie Young is going to be a more viable option for the Aces. She knows the offense, and she's a bit better with getting the ball to A'ja Wilson. She knows where A'ja wants the ball. And issues with the Aces in their passing in previous games is that sometimes it was the right idea, but the ball was just not in the pocket. And where you receive the ball matters so much when it comes to passing. So that's a factor. And then also the defensive side of the ball is a factor. While I think that Kennedy Carter has gotten better on defense, she's not the defensive threat that Jackie Young is. And what she gives up defensively at times can cancel out what she's able to do offensively. Because she's such a competitor, the emotions run high for her on the offensive end, and she can create these games within a game with the opposition, and that leads to exciting basketball. Kennedy Carter and Chelsea Gray are probably two of the best combinations when it comes to any Aces lineup. When those two are in together and they're playing their best basketball, the offense is just very exciting. But Kennedy uses so much energy. Again, I'll say, I don't know if her WNBA legs are underneath her yet. She looks gassed really quickly to me. So when she's exerting so much energy on the offensive end, I don't know if she's able to put in that same effort defensively, but a player like Jackie Young does that. That is what she does. She plays both sides of the ball. She's the definition of a two-way player. What we also saw in this Golden State game was A'ja getting out of the screen and roll action. I think that to start the games earlier in the season, A'ja was typically that first option when it comes to screening for the guards to start the game. So the starting lineup is Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, A'ja, Nalissa, and Talbot. But they would start A'ja in that key area and have her screening for the guards. And A'ja is my GOAT, but I just got to be real. A'ja sets screens like she doesn't want to be touched. Sometimes she's making contact. Sometimes she is not, and the screen is not as effective as it could be if a bang bang player like Nalissa Smith or Stephanie Talbot were setting the screens. So I think that alleviating some of that pressure, and then at the end of the day, you got to think of A'ja like a quarterback. You don't want her getting roughed up too much. Like, yes, she's a post player, but you got to think of the longevity of the season, and you really don't want her in that screen action all the time. I would like to see more screens being ran for A'ja, and I think that we saw more of that in this game against Golden State. Defensively, the Aces looked a lot stronger, but I also have to say right now, the Golden State Valkyries aren't playing their best basketball. I would go as far as saying they don't look as good as they did last season. While the Aces did apply pressure defensively, they looked to be a lot more in sync when it came to help side and rotations. I will say it didn't look like the Valkyries had the weapons that a team like the Dallas Wings had or the Los Angeles Sparks had. So I would say the Valkyries aren't playing their best basketball yet, but that was still a commendable performance from the Aces defensively. They will get another chance to face the Sparks, and I don't think the outcome is going to be the same. I think they needed that loss. They needed those two back-to-back losses because there's no teacher like a loss. So I'm happy that it happened at this juncture in the season. I'm very interested to see how the Aces are going to look against the Sparks. But what are your thoughts, Hoops Tribe? How are you feeling about the Aces thus far? Let's talk hoops.